Today, we're diving into the fight against pancreatic cancer, but from a really surprising angle. We're going on a little data-driven hunt for what some researchers are calling unexpected allies, common compounds, things you might even have in your medicine cabinet that new research suggests could play a supporting role in treatment.
So let's just jump right in with the big question that's driving all of this. Can common, everyday medicines actually lend a hand in the fight against a disease as formidable as pancreatic cancer? Well, the data we're about to walk through suggests the answer is, a lot more hopeful than you might think.
You see, when facing a really tough challenge, scientists get creative. They start looking for clues in places you wouldn't expect. They're digging through huge sets of patient data, trying to see if some of these everyday substances might be giving certain people an unintended and very welcome edge.
Okay, before we get into the really juicy data, let's get something super important out of the way. Please think of this as a collection of interesting questions, not a list of answers. Our whole goal here is to arm you with information so you can have a better, more informed conversation with your doctor. This is a starting point for that talk, not a substitute for it.
All right, our first unexpected ally comes straight out of the allergy aisle, antihistamines. I know, right? It sounds a little out there, but let's take a look at the data from a 2023 study that has a lot of researchers really sitting up and taking notice.
And the difference here is, well, it's pretty staggering. An analysis found that for patients taking a specific type of antihistamine, these cotonic ones, which just means they have a positive charge that helps them interact with cells differently, the treatment response rate was 39%. Now compare that to just 4% for non-users. That is a huge leap.
And the data doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. The same research found a 64% higher relative overall survival associated with using these particular antihistamines. I mean, a number that big really makes you lean in and ask, what is going on here on a biological level?
And you don't have to take my word for it. The researcher's own conclusion, published right there in the Journal of Clinical Oncology, is about as direct as it gets. The use of cationic amphiphilic antihistamines was associated with improved survival. That is a powerful statement, and it's grounded right in their data.
So this whole idea of repurposing common drugs leads us right to our next section, statins and aspirin. Yep, two more household names that are being put under the scientific microscope for the potential supporting roles they might play in cancer care.
So, first up, statins. Most of us think of them for cholesterol, of course, but researchers who are analyzing records for patients on chemotherapy found this really fascinating link between people using statins and how well they did, suggesting there might be some kind of helping effect going on.
And here was the crucial finding. Using statins was linked to a significantly lower risk of mortality. Now, this study uses this term hazard ratio, which sounds kind of technical, but in simple terms, a ratio of 0.48 means the risk for the statin group was basically cut in half, a 52% lower risk. That's a huge deal.
Okay, next up at Little White Pill, low-dose aspirin. A 2021 study focused on a very specific group of people, patients who had already undergone surgery for pancreatic cancer. And what they found was this incredibly powerful link between taking aspirin and their long-term survival.
Just look at this table. For aspirin users in the study, the 3-year survival rate after surgery was 61.1%. For the non-users, 26.3%. I mean, that is a massive, massive difference. The theory is that aspirin's ability to affect blood platelets might be making it harder for the cancer to spread.
And digging in even deeper, the study also connected aspirin use to a 64% reduction in the relative risk of the disease progressing. This all ties back to that idea of maybe suppressing the cancer's ability to move and spread, and it's another one of those really striking figures from the data. Now, it's really important to understand that antihistamines, statins, and aspirin, they're just a few examples. They're actually part of a much, much bigger research landscape that's exploring all kinds of complementary and integrative approaches in cancer care.
And the research is incredibly broad. I mean, scientists are looking into the link between vitamin D3 levels and patient outcomes. They're studying things called beta-glucans, which come from mushrooms and yeast, for their potential to help the immune system. They're even looking at stuff like an herbal extract called astragalus, special milk proteins like lactoferrin, and even high-dose IV vitamin C. It is a vast and pretty fascinating field.
Okay, so this brings us to what is, without a doubt, the most important step in this entire explainer. How you can actually take this information and turn it into a productive, empowered conversation with your doctor. And I'm going to say this one last time because it is absolutely the most critical takeaway. This is a resource, not a prescription.
The only person who is qualified to give you medical advice is your doctor because they're the one who understands your unique health situation.
So, what's the game plan? It's a simple 3-step process. First, review this research. Really understand the data. Second, prepare your questions. What did this make you wonder about? And third, and this is the big one, partner with your doctor. Use this as a launchpad to start a dialogue about what might or might not be a good fit for you.
And that really brings us to our final thought. When you look at all this emerging data, it really begs the question, what does the future of cancer care look like when patients are truly empowered by information, when they can be active partners in their own health journey, asking smart questions and exploring every single possibility alongside their medical team? Now that's a future worth working for.